It's time for Bob the Sign Man. Let's jump right into this exciting episode of Bob the Sign Man.
Hello, Bob the Sign Man here. Well, we have a little situation here. You can see our gates closing at our facility here. We've got an electronic gate out front. And here's a sign I put up, and that logo is definitely faded and cracked.
Here is the finished logo. Let's take a look and see how the sign man pulled this one off.
Okay, well, here I am back in the shop, and I have some logos that was made for me quite a few years ago by the city of Napa. I have this SB1, which is a California thing for a tax. Measure T, which is our own local tax. It fixes road. And I have some county logos that I use. And this is the one that I put out on the gate. And when we made them over at the city, we didn't put any ultraviolet protection on top of it because usually these signs don't stay up for very long. So that's what happened out at the gate, but I'm going to fix that. We used to make our street signs, and we used to buy the logos from a vendor and put the logo on. Well, come to find out, some of those are starting to crack and chip now after about 6-8 years. So I got some engineer grade material that's reflective, made our own, put the ultraviolet protection over it, cut them out on the, print them on the HP365, cut them out on the Graphtec Cutter. I'll walk you through some steps on how to use your Graphtec Cutter to cut out some logos, because there's no way you're going to cut those with a pair of scissors. And I've heard some people just try to, if they make hundreds of stickers, they cut them out by hand. That's going to take you a long time. I'll save you some time and some money. Let's jump into this.
Okay, I'm just going to use this logo to print. I want the 9.5 inch. I believe this is 9.5 inch. Yeah, this is 9.5 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all. And I want to put a contour cut on it. So I'm going to come up here to Effects. And I'm going to click this right here where it's highlighted blue up here, Contour Cut. And I want it to be 1050. That should do me just about right. If you want to change it, you can. I'm going to go 10.50. And that changed both contour cuts, so it'll give me a little edge around there. This is going to be cut out, and this is going to be the white reflective material in the back, so it won't look like the logo is just plopped onto the regular blue out there like the old one was. And then I want to do ellipse. This is important to do the ellipse when you do the round circles, I found out, because when you don't, it confuses a printer because it thinks it's cutting out all kinds of other stuff. It's just far easier to do. I want to make sure I come down and I want to, on this box, make sure that I have the contour cut selected. And then once I have all that set up, what I want to do is always click your apply arrow. So we're going to apply that. Okay, so now it's applied and we're ready to go. What we're going to do is we're just going to click the rip and print. Here we go. I brought up my production manager. Have all your settings set up right. Yeah, I brought my production manager up here. It's in the way. Let me get him out of the way for a second here. I'm just going to keep the settings that I have. So there, I have it centered in there. I'm going to do 6 logos. If I just do one, I'm going to waste that material. So I did 2 more, and then I figured, well, I may as well add the other 3. And you can see the little register marks are up here on the thing. So it's really simple. Then all I'm going to do is just click send, but you definitely want to make sure that you have all your settings right before you go. And we're just going to click send and send this off to the printer.
All right, there's the first registration mark that it's printing. You can see it looks like a little bullseye. It says number 1. It's going to print 4 of them. And we're going to line the cutter up with all 4 of those in a second, and I'll show you how that does work. All right, here comes my logos. And you can see these little black marks here. They're little bullseyes. That says number 4, that says 1. Number 2 will be up there, 3 this way, and 4 down here. And we're going to have to adjust the cutter on each one of those points so it knows exactly the position of the material, whether it's a little this way, a little that way. It's a little exaggerated, but it'll contour cut around those perfect. All right, let's laminate these real quick. Okay, I usually like to slide that thing in the middle, and then we're going to go ahead and insert our material that we want to cut. into the cutter. And I have these little target marks. They look like little crosshairs with a target in the middle. And there's a little edge in here. What I want to do is I want to make sure that they're within the parameters of these little guys that are going to measure, or whatever, these little wheels. And I'm going to hold in the middle of one, press it in there, hold it down so I can get it somewhat straight in there. And then I'm going to go ahead, set my lever down, and I want to select my roll. I always select a roll. I don't select a sheet because sometimes it pops out sometimes. And anyways, I always just do the roll. Remember, like I said, don't change things. If it's working, don't change it. All right, now it's doing all this little measuring and everything. Okay, now that we got that done, it finally does its final setup. We're going to hop over to the computer again, and we're going to tell it exactly what we want it to cut and where we want it to cut, and I'll show you how we do that.
Okay, now that I have my material that I'm going to cut in my cutter, I come over to my production manager, and here's the last job that I did, and I'm just going to simply select cut job, and then you might have multiple. See how mine's blue? It's the only one I got in there, and then I'm just going to hit send. Then it's going to pop up and ask me if I want to do it manually or if I want to use the bomb site. I want to use the bomb site, digitalized bomb site, and I'm just going to click OK. Now it's going to ask me, do I want to use the laser pointer tool as the alignment tool? Yes. Okay, now it says press arrow on device to align cutter heads to align mark. Click one to OK to continue. So what I want to do is I'm going to go over to my cutter and I'm going to line that mark, and I'll show you. It's going to be the same process through all 4 marks.
All right, if you look real close, you can see that little red laser pointer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these tools right here, left, right, up, down, to position that cutter so that it's right on the bomb site. See if I can get a little better angle here. So now I'm just going to move it over. It moves kind of slow, as you can see. And if you want to speed it up, you can hit the fast button. So there's my bomb site. There's my laser pointer. So I got some adjustments to do. I'm going to bring it over. And I'm just going to keep making the adjustments until it gets right where exactly where it should be. So I got it perfectly centered. Then I'm going to hop over to the computer and I'm going to click OK. Okay, now it advanced itself. It asked me if everything was okay. I just clicked OK. And now it wants me to line it up on number 2. So I got it lined up now on number 2. You can see how it's right on where it should be. So now I'm going to go over to the computer on Production Manager and click number 2. That it's okay. Okay, now we came over to number 3, and you can see how it's off a bit. We're just going to adjust it to right where it should be. There we go. And I'm going to go over and click OK. And now we're going to go up to number 4. And you can see how it's off a little bit. And I'm just going to use the arrows to bring it right where I want it. And it's okay.
Okay, if you have a Graphtec cutter, this is what I'm using, is the Graphtec. You can come up to your settings and take your Graphtec cutting plotter controller, open that up, and there's this thing called cutter plotter control. I happen to have a shortcut on my desktop because I do use it periodically. So we'll open that up. Now here's the settings that I use for my red cutter that's in the number 4 position. What I do is I have it set to adjust it. You can edit conditions. You click the edit conditions. I have my force set at 20, my speed at 20. I don't know, Excel 1 and then offset 0. Here's where you click a little test cut when you want to test cut it. So once you change your settings that you want to change, you can just click upload to printer. But see, I have mine in the number 4 position. So what I would do is you'll highlight whichever one you want to change. See how it was for my blue cutter. So I have it in the number 4 position. And now you can change your different conditions. You can see for my EC film, I use a faster speed, a little bit more force. But this seems to be working out pretty good right now that I have it set at. There's different types of settings you can do on it, but I have mine set here and it seems to be working just fine. And this will all depend on how you have your knife set up too, which means how far you've turned your blade out. If it's out a little bit further, you'll need less force. If it's not in as far, you'll need more force. You just have to mess around with the settings and find out what works for you.
All right, now that that's all set up, I'm going to go over one last time to the computer and click OK, that we have all the points lined up. And it says to please put the knife back in the track, which I never took the knife out. They have another laser pointer you can use, but I use the machine's laser pointer. And then you're just going to click OK. And then it's going to tell you 1.3, change tool, yada, yada. I'm just going to press the enter key. So there's one cut. Two cuts. I could only imagine trying to do those by hand or putting an object that's over the same size and cut it out with a razor blade like some people have told me they've done. And it's just like, so I started messing around and I thought, well, I'm not going to be that guy that uses an old paper plate or a dinner plate or something to make a logo. I'm just going to figure out the machine. And you just got to experiment with it sometimes, and it worked for me. So here's the last one getting cut out. And then when it's done, it's just going to come over to the end and it's just going to set itself up. Okay, now that I have my logos cut out and everything, I'm just going to push down on this. I'm going to remove the logos from here and stick it over to the table and see what happens. All right, so there's my logos I have on there. And the way I set up my knife and the pressure and everything, they should just pop right out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're left with a piece of Swiss cheese. All right, there we go. 6 logos, all trimmed out with the laminate on top. The ultraviolet protection, 1173MC is what I use. They do have a 1170, or no, it's 1160, I think, AI or something, or IA, one of the two, that has ultraviolet protection plus graffiti guard on the top. But as you can see how it cut around just perfect. Saved a lot of time. I used to make these decals for the back of the signs, and it's got the date that you just punch out with the hole punch, the month, the year I installed it, and then we have an asset number. Each pole has a certain number. I made hundreds of these things. I just laid them out, laminated them, and cut them all out by hand. That was painstaking. Now I learned how to do the settings, and works out pretty good. So I do a lot of experimenting. When I need help, I just go out and try to do what I can to get the job done. And this is what I did on this. Did a lot of experimenting. But when you need help, what do? You just turn to the sign man. As always, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching this exciting episode. Bob the Sign Man is filmed in the beautiful Napa Valley. This video has been directed, edited, and produced by, you guessed it, Bob the Sign Man. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes coming your way. As always, thanks for watching.